Just that it's a storied rivalry. For the past couple of years, Baylor's been at the top of the Big 12, and Texas Baylor has always been something that's been televised, been talked about a lot. So I mean, we're excited going into this game. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, am I to assume that in women's basketball it's also Duke, North Carolina, or what is Duke's biggest rivalry that you've kind of gone through the last few years?
Oh, Duke, North Carolina, hands down. Duke, North Carolina.
What is that rivalry like? Take us through what that rivalry is like.
It's it's a brawl. I mean, on the court, it doesn't matter how good each team was doing that season, whether they were undefeated, having a quote unquote down year, no matter what it was, that game was always going to be close. It was going to go down to the wire. Um, I mean, of course, like on the men's side, you have these crazy statistics about how, the games have been within like 1 point, 2 points for however many years. On the women's side, like I've been in games where we went into overtime where buzzer beaters were hit. The stands are filled with everybody. You have on the Duke blue, the Carolina blue. And it's like leading up into that game, everybody has to pick a team. Like there is no middle ground. Like you're either a Duke fan or a North Carolina fan, and then you'll like sprinkle in like a NC State fan every now and then. But I mean, it's the talk of the town all year long.
So what you're saying is you're not going to be intimidated by a rivalry. You played in a couple big ones in your time.
Oh yeah, I played in the biggest rivalry in college basketball, so no, I'm not not intimidated.
Going back to Wednesday night, how much do y'all need that win over Oklahoma State, especially kind of considering the West Virginia game, to kind of give you guys some momentum as you get ready for this Baylor game?
Yeah, it wasn't just the Oklahoma State game. I mean, we need all of these games, to be quite honest. That was a great game for us to get back, seeing as we didn't beat them at their place. So that was really good to see us bounce back and bounce back in such a fashion, to where, we're getting better as a team, and, we're just going to ride that momentum up into Sunday.
Jake, go ahead.
Kyra, obviously, you guys never want to lose, but you're now 5-0 coming off a loss this year. How encouraging has that been, knowing that you and your teammates have been able to respond in such a positive way to a loss this year?
Mhm. I think it shows that we're growing, honestly. It's very encouraging to see that we can, take whatever lesson it is from that loss and translate it to the next game and respond in such a way. It just shows that our team is maturing and growing throughout the season, so that's encouraging for sure.
Danny, back to you.
Kyra, obviously we know plenty about Charlie the player, but what is Charlie the roommate like? How is living with her, and how did that arrangement get set up? I don't know if y'all knew each other before you got here. How did that living arrangement get set up?
Uh, Going into this year, me and Lauren were transfers, so we didn't necessarily know where we were living, and we knew that Charlie lived off campus. So I just reached out to her and said, "Hey, like, why don't we all just room together?" So that's kind of how it came about. But I mean, both her and Lauren are just very thoughtful, really chill. Like our apartment's pretty quiet. Lauren will cook. We'll all be in the kitchen every now and then, not too often though. But yeah, I mean, it's just really chill. I guess that would be the word to describe it. Like everybody kind of does their own thing. We'll see each other in passing in like the kitchen and everything, and then of course at practice. But yeah.
What's Lauren's best dish? Does someone ever leave out the dishes? Is there a messy roommate?
No, there's not a messy roommate, but Lauren, honestly, anything she touches smells amazing and tastes amazing. She's a whole chef, honestly. But yeah, anything she decides to make, from soul food to something healthy to I don't know what concoctions she comes up with, but it all looks amazing.
Back on the court, your assist to turnover ratio is pretty good, but overall the team has kind of struggled with turnovers. And how much is that being stressed by Vic and your other coaches in practice? And I don't know if there's an easy solution to that, but how do you limit turnovers in these games?
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing, especially for Sunday. Every time we're going into a game, he writes on the board, value the ball, take care of the ball. We need to value possessions. So that is an emphasis for us in practice. If we have a turnover, we'll go to the sideline, run a quick sprint, hop right back into the drill. So just trying to reinforce it that way. But also we just all have to hold each other accountable and say, hey, we're better than that. There's not really one easy quick fix to do that, but sometimes, it happens and hopefully we get the possession back, but overall we just need to value our possessions and take care of the ball. That's something that we need to get better at for sure.
Good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well and staying safe in these our weather that we have, and it's uncommon obviously and down here in this part of the country. Again, just really proud of my team on Wednesday. Thought we really played extremely hard defensively for most of the game, maybe not all of it, but most of it. I thought Kyra ran our team extremely well. We pushed it when we needed to. We were in the half court when we needed to, and I just thought, she did a nice job from the point guard spot, and then again, it's a lot easier when you've got a guard out there shooting 50% to go with what normally is Charlie shooting 50%. So, proud of our kids. Obviously, we've got a big one on Sunday, big chore in front of us. A lot of respect for Baylor and Coach Mulkey and the job they've done. And we'll have to go in there and really play well, have great focus like we had on Wednesday. I thought our focus was really good. I thought our intensity was good. And I thought our effort was good. And you better have all of that when you go into Waco and play. And, it'll be a real challenge for our young team, our young inexperienced team. But, hey, man, we're excited about the opportunity. And, again, I'm encouraged by our team. We've just got to continue to get better. We've kind of been on a little bit of a roller coaster. We're up, we're down, we play good, we struggle, and defensively has kind of been where it all starts and ends for us. So we can just keep getting better defensively and have a little focus there. I think that leads into our offense and allows us to relax a little bit on offense. So again, we're going to have to play really well on Sunday, but we'll be excited for the opportunity. I know our kids will be excited, and again, we better have really good focus going in there.
Danny, go ahead.
Vic, I'm kind of wondering if you get the sense that players are concerned at all or are thinking too much about Baylor's run in this series, because on one hand, the numbers are the numbers, but on the other hand, over half your players and over half your available players have never played in this Texas Baylor game. So I'm wondering if you get that sense from them at all.
Yeah, I don't get that sense at all, dude. Like you said, they've never even been a part of the series. So, we've got a few of them that have been a part of it. How big of a part, just depends on what season it was. So you're hardly a part of it if you're sitting there on the bench. You're a part of it when you're in the fray, when you're in the fight. And so, I think our kids are just, if they're like our staff, we're just on to the next one. And, you can't get too up after a win, which I've been trying to tell them, the last day or so. And you can't get too low after a loss. You got to learn from your mistakes and move on. But I'm not one of these guys that, how do you quote unquote get up for the big game? If you don't get excited to play every night, come on. So you only have X number of these, and you only have X number in your career. So, we'll have them ready, prepared like we always do, but we got to go in there and execute.
I don't know how much of a say you have in this matter, or, if you've been talking to Chris or your ops people, but is there concern at all about that bus trip to Waco on Sunday, just because of the weather and the conditions that it's going to be the next few days?
Yeah, I haven't really had too much conversation. Chris and I visited yesterday just briefly. And I'm sure we'll keep an eye on it. I'm always concerned about weather, whether I'm flying or in a bus. So I'm pretty in tune. It's going to be bitterly cold Sunday, as you know. So I know as you know, the highways around here are not good. And there were parts of Mopac shut down when I came in early this morning. There's parts of 290, 183, they're all shut down. So we'll keep an eye on it for sure, Danny.
Riley, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know certain coaches do different things to try to prepare their team for rivalry games on the road. I'm just interested, is there anything that you try to do to get your team ready to play in an environment like you guys will play, on Sunday?
Well, typically, Riley, I mean, when we go in there to Waco, it'll be packed, standing room only, and however many that place holds, 8,000, 7,500, something like that. So, it's typically, a pretty raucous atmosphere. And I don't think they'll have that. I don't think they're allowing, those kinds of numbers this year. Certainly we're not. So more importantly than that is the team you're playing, the coach you're going against, the staff you're going against. That's to me the most important thing you can do in preparing your kids. And again, basketball is a game of runs, and you got to limit the runs and the amount that's involved in each run. And you got to be able to score a little bit with them, because they're really good. They got inside players that can really hurt you. Obviously, they've got great guard play as well. So they're a complete team. There's no question about it.
Jake, you're up.
Vic, as you've watched the Big 12 from afar over the past decade or so, what do you think the biggest reason has been for Baylor's dominance? Is there anything you can place your finger on?
Oh, sure. Two things. One, they got great players, and two, they got a Hall of Fame coach and their staff. I mean, you have to respect, that entire staff that she's got. So, I mean, I think you acknowledge that, and then you go to work and address it. And so that's what we've done. We've got the 4th ranked recruiting class in the country coming in. And we've got some good players currently on this team, but it's not that hard of a deal to figure out. And you've got to compete with them on so many levels, in my mind. And the ultimate, obviously, the last level you're going to compete with them on is on the court, but that's a culmination of competing with them in recruiting and everything else that goes with it. So, we're going to be fine here in Texas. I mean, from a standpoint of fan support, we're going to have packed houses and atmosphere and all that. We're going to have, we're going to continue to recruit well, and we'll continue to develop players. I think that's one of the things that my staff and I, we've been known for over the years, is developing our student athletes. So, Jake, this is why we're here. And, we've got a job to do, and we've got to go do it.
Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Vic, what's your relationship like with Kim? Have you gone up against her in games before? Do you know her personally? Do you see her on the recruiting trail? What's your relationship like with her?
Yeah, I have a good relationship with Kim. I checked on her when she, was sick and had COVID, and I checked on her kids when they got hurt back in October. And, we went against her in the Elite Eight when I was at Mississippi State. And obviously we had some knockdown dragouts when I was at the school east of here, and we were in the Big 12 back then. So, but I think there's mutual respect. And again, I've watched her teams from afar, and I remember going against them in the Elite Eight and standing there on the sideline thinking, good gosh, they looked like a WNBA team, to me that day. And what a knockdown drag out that we had that day. Great basketball game. And so, I think we both understand our jobs that we had to do. At the same time, you know, we're both very similar in that we're family people. And, you know, she's very, very much, I think, family oriented with her family and daughter and son. And so am I. So, yeah.
Danny, go ahead.
Vic, I don't know if there's a game plan to completely shut them down, but is there something you need to see from Charlie, see from Lauren, see from Audrey if you play her down there to help limit what Melissa and Queen are able to do down low?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where it starts for them, is inside for sure, Danny. And we'll have to do a good job handling them down there. You know, I've watched, I can't tell you how many games. I mean, they've been singled, doubled, fronted, behind. I mean, they've seen it all. And, you know, I think what makes them so unique is they're really intelligent. They know where the double comes from. If you double them, if you single them, I mean, they're just too talented to deal with. You let them get it low, you're in trouble. So we'll have to do a good job, because again, that's kind of where it starts and ends in my mind for them down there.